By 2040, out of every 4 human beings, 5 human beings you see on the continent, 1 is likely to be an African. That's what the statistics are showing. But a lot of people are worried about the current mindset of the young people, and they are asking the question whether indeed by 2040 we shall have leaders that will have the kind of skills, the kind of character, morals that you and I are talking about here. Are you worried about it?
I'm not worried. I would say more concerned. And then, and that concern should drive all of us to ensure that we put in place systems, mechanisms to ensure proper education of the youth coming up now. I mean, do we bother to review the curriculums that we have in our schools at all? Haven't we realized that development and advancement is outpacing the revision of these curriculums? I mean, by the time you graduate, all the knowledge that you acquired at the university, at the polytechnic and school is obsolete already. Are we being more progressive here to constantly see what is best for our economies? I mean, before I went to university, there was the talk of graduate unemployment in Ghana. Today, we are talking of graduate unemployment. Are we training people just to go and look for jobs and get employed, or we train people who can do something on their own, either individually or as a group? So I think that is where the emphasis should be. It should not be a right that once you graduate from the university, the government should get you an employment. No, you acquired education so that you can analyze things better for yourself, and then try to generate wealth. I mean, without necessarily hoping that somebody would give you employment. And if you don't get it, then your world comes to an end. If you get a good employment, that is fine, but that should not be the sole focus. And therefore, our curriculums in our schools have to be looked at properly. Are we training people to come out with degrees for the sake of it? What kind of degrees are they? I wouldn't fall into the temptation of mentioning some of these degrees that are coming out of our universities, but we all know where graduates with those degrees end up. Absolutely. Or do not end up.
Sure. Excellency, you've been in this system for 3 decades.
Yes.
And fortunately enough, you are African.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, the current office is the 3rd in the world, biggest in the world.
Host nation.
Yeah, host nation, the biggest, the 3rd biggest in the whole world. Is that right?
Yes.
This is your camera. You've seen it. You've seen the causes that has led to all these things that are happening. That are bringing people from different under refugeeism and all of those things. What are your final thoughts that you want to share with them?
No, I mean, I think I've mentioned a number of them in our conversation. I mean, final thoughts, the main drivers of refugee situation, I mean,
conflict
should be stemmed out completely. And by this, I mean violence, communal violence, civil wars, and so on and so forth. We should also ensure environmental protection as well, because climate damages to the climate and climate change is even causing people to leave their habitual places of residence to seek for better lives elsewhere. And climate is one area which, if you don't take action now, you may not see the impact tomorrow, but it affects the whole world. And the impact is devastating. It's devastating. Nobody can really hope to sustain whatever devastation it comes with. So I would also advocate a lot for that. And then investment in the youth. To me, that is key. Like I said, 55% or 45% of school-going age children among the refugees are out of school. Where are they? What are they doing? What is the future of this continent? I mean, with all these people falling prey to many subversive activities around the world. I would also continue to advocate for inclusion of basic services of refugees in national systems instead of having parallel systems. You go to some refugee camps elsewhere or setups, and they tell you that over the years, billions of dollars have been invested in this camp, and you look around, you don't see any infrastructure, you don't see that the people are well trained, they are still dependent on handouts over years. Where are we going with that? That is not productive at all. I mean, so inclusion of refugees in national systems is key if we want to. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. If you don't do it, refugees would fall prey. They become dependent and therefore vulnerable and fall prey to many subversive activities. That is one. You are losing the future of the young generation. If you use it well, they help boost the economy. They're able to fend for themselves. They are self-reliant and therefore, I mean, able to even educate themselves. I mean, cater for their education. I mean, if the parents are well, employed, they're able to support them fit for their education. I mean, and then also working closer and closer with sister UN agencies is key. I mean, we have mandates which those aspects, some aspects may seem overlapping, instead of having working in silos to come closer and closer. And in Uganda, I mean, we've signed some memorandums of understanding of cooperation with sister UN agencies to ensure that we are all pulling in the same direction. So these are a few thoughts that I would like to emphasize upon going forward. But the key thing is good politics, good governance to ensure that the main drivers of refugees are stemmed.